It was early morning when Salim woke in a strange half-dream. He felt a cool breeze on his face, though he was inside his small clay house. His heart thudded. Had someone come? A call in the night? He listened, but heard only silence and his own ragged breathing. He sat up, cane still at his side, and whispered a prayer. Ya Allah, guide me. He rose slowly, expecting nothing, but that uneasy feeling stayed with him all day. Salim lived alone in a dusty village near Jeddah. Since he was a baby, darkness had been his world. He could not remember light or color or faces. Other children ran and played. He learned words by echo and touch. His mother taught him Quran by heart until her voice grew too weak, and she passed away. His father died soon after. Still, Salim held on to one dream, to make Hajj once in his life. Villagers shook their heads at his wish. You are blind, they said. Your house is falling. Your fields are bare. How will you travel? How will you find your way in Makkah's crowds? But Salim only smiled. Every night, he knelt on his old prayer rug and whispered the same plea. Ya Allah, let me stand on Arafat. Let me feel your mercy in that sacred place. He taught Quran to neighborhood children for a few coins. He patched his robes when they tore, used leftover dough to bake flatbread. He saved his small earnings in a battered tin. Year by year, he tucked away a few coins, hoping it would be enough. Yet time passed and his savings were not enough for a camel journey, let alone a sea voyage. His age crept up on him. His back grew stiff, his legs shaky. He feared he would die before ever touching the sands of Arafat. One dusty afternoon, a stranger appeared at the masjid. He was tall, with a kind face and careful manners. He sought a Quran teacher, someone who knew the book by heart. An elder pointed to Salim. The stranger sat beside him on the floor and listened. Salim recited with perfect tajweed, each letter clear and measured. The stranger's eyes filled. Your voice is a gift, he said softly. Will you teach me? They met each evening by lantern light. The stranger brought sweet tea and bread. They studied together, Salim guiding his cane toward the book's recitations in his mind. One night, the stranger asked, Salim, do you wish to go for Hajj? Salim's heart leapt. He feared the question. I do, he said, voice trembling, but I have no way. I will take you, the stranger said. You will be my honored guest and I will arrange for you to travel and stay. Is that your dream? Salim closed his eyes, tears falling. Yes, my brother, if Allah wills. Weeks later, they set out. Salim felt the road under his feet, the sway of the caravan. He slept under stars he could not see, comforted by hushed prayers around him. He smelled camels and spices, heard calls to prayer echoing at dawn. Each sound tightened the knot of hope in his heart. Finally, they arrived in Makkah. Salim found himself in a great courtyard, voices rising like waves. He did not know where to go, but the stranger's hand guided him. He felt the cold marble walls, ran his fingers over the carved patterns. He reached out to touch the kiswa, the black cloth covering the Kaaba, and wept. His tears fell onto the smooth stone, and his heart felt as if it might burst. Salim performed tawaf, while the stranger described colors. See how the kiswa shines under lamps at night? Imagine golden threads weaving stories of mercy. Salim smiled into the darkness. He could taste the sweetness of Zamzam water, feel its cool life flowing down his throat. He prayed at Maqam Ibrahim, his knees weak, Ya Allah, this is more than I ever dared hope. But the most awaited moment still lay ahead, the day of Arafat. At dawn they set off toward the plain. Salim heard the rumble of hundreds of pilgrims walking together. The breeze carried the smell of sand and sweat. Tents dotted the fields like scattered seeds. He could hear the rustle of mats, pages of Quran turning, whispered du'as. Salim sat under a simple canopy with the stranger, whose name he now knew was Karim. He felt Karim's hand on his shoulder. In few hours it will begin, Karim said. The time of standing, the time of dua. Salim nodded, his heart pounding. He kept repeating in his mind the plea he had held for decades. When Dur and Asr had merged into their combined prayer, a hush fell. Pilgrims raised their hands. A distant murmur rose to a roar. La ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar. Salim felt the ground beneath his feet, the surge of devotion around him. He stood slowly, cane tapping the earth, guided by Karim's steady arm. Salim raised his hands and spoke from the deepest part of his soul. Ya Allah, you know I have never seen light. I have never seen the sky or the Kaaba, or the faces of believers in prayer. But I have believed with all my heart. I have trusted you when others said it was impossible. Today, I ask only one thing. Let me see your house. Let me glimpse your mercy in a single moment. His voice cracked. Tears fell silently onto his ihram. Pilgrims nearby paused, listening. Some wept at his words. Salim repeated his plea, voice rising and falling. Ya Rahman, Ya Latif, show me, O Lord. Then, in that silent plain, something changed. Salim felt a nudge within his chest. His heart raced. He took a step forward, then another. The cane slipped from his grasp. He stopped, breath caught in his throat. He whispered almost to himself, What is this? Salim? Karim's voice was close. What do you feel? Salim closed his eyes. Then, after a long moment, he said, Light. I feel light. He opened his eyes wide. I see the sky. It's blue. His voice trembled like a child's. He knelt, lifting his face to the sun. A sob tore from his throat. Karim lowered him gently to the ground. Salim's tears wet the sand. He felt the warmth of the sun on his skin, felt the wind brushing his cheeks, felt the shape of the tent rope under his fingertips. He breathed in the scent of scented rugs, of spices carried on the breeze, of countless bodies in prayer. He knelt for so long that time lost meaning. When he finally rose, he found himself surrounded by pilgrims who had heard his words. They wept quietly, touched his hands, praised Allah. Salim felt every embrace, every whispered prayer. He did not see their faces, but he heard their words. Alhamdulillah, Subhanallah. That evening, Salim and Karim returned to Makkah. Salim was led back to the Masjid al-Haram. He stood again before the Kaaba, cane discarded. He ran his hands over the cloth, felt the grooves of the meteorite in the black stone corner. He walked 7 rounds, guided by Karim, but looking with eyes that beheld what he had only dreamed. He did not blink. He stood at each station, Maqam Ibrahim, Hijr Ismail, Zamzam well, taking in every detail. He felt the golden calligraphy, the marble floors, the shape of the arches overhead. He listened to the hum of millions of prayers, to the echo of footsteps on stone. He drank deep of each moment. At night, under lamps that lit the courtyard like stars, Salim closed his eyes and recalled all he had seen. He remembered the plain of Arafat, the blue sky, the white tents, the sea of pilgrims. He remembered the first touch of light on his eyelids. He held those memories close, as precious as the holiest verse of Quran. When he returned home, the villagers flocked to hear his tale. They pressed around him in the dust, children tugging at his sleeves. He told them simply, I asked Allah, and He gave me vision when I had faith. Old skeptics wept, young men vowed to change their lives. Mothers blessed him, children memorized his words. Salim spent his last years teaching Quran and telling stories of his miracle on Arafat. He never forgot the feel of dawn on his face, the taste of Zamzam, the sound of that single word escaping his lips, light. He never tired of describing the blue sky, though he knew they could only imagine it. Yet in their hearts, they saw it too. One morning, Salim did not wake. His breathing slowed until it stopped. His cane lay by his bedside. A worn photo of the Kaaba was in his hand. They buried him simply, among neighbors who had come to love him. As they lowered him into the ground, they whispered prayers and remembered his words. Believe, even in the dark, and Allah will bring light into your life.